One thing, and this is something I've noticed for quite a while now, there's this majority consensus at Franklin about concerning political views, and there's kind of this silencing or this shaming of any other sort of opposing views. Really, it just kind of got tiring. I mean, I walk by the Young Republicans board every day, and they started out with the words Young Republicans at the top, and now there's just you and Ann. And it's just, it's getting old. And the guy who came here, Tim Wise, I actually followed him before he came here. I knew who he was before. I've seen him on CNN multiple times. And I don't think he was what the school needed at the time. We don't need someone else to come in building on to this already precedent consensus. What we really need to, right now, for Franklin as a community, as a school, is to have an open-minded discussion. Is for you to be able to speak freely and for really no one to get upset or angry at you. The best thing we can do right now, and this is for like you, me, everyone that's watching this, is if I say something, and I implore you to disagree with me at any point. If I say something and you disagree, don't get angry, don't get outraged, all right? Just come up to me, pull me aside and say, hey, I disagree.
My view on the political environment at Franklin is actually changing. I had thought that it was one in which free expression was the norm and constraints on the ability to speak your mind, regardless of your political perspective, were rare exceptions. My conversations with faculty and students over the last 6 weeks have started to change my mind about that. So I'm beginning to get the sense that the political environment at Franklin is one in which restrictions on students and faculty members' ability to speak freely about their views on matters of political importance are stronger, more pervasive, more constraining than I had previously thought. So it seems like maybe there is a pretty significant problem, both in terms of the depth and the breadth of the problem when it comes to people of particular political persuasions being able to speak freely and openly about what views they hold and why they hold them.
I'd like to see Ben Franklin move in the direction of being more inclusive to all political perspectives. And I have a feeling that that's not entirely the case right now. So currently, I don't think it's the worst it can be. I don't think Ben Franklin is a total reflection of what's going on across the rest of the country, but I do think that there's room for improvement.
There's definitely a hostile environment, especially towards more conservative students, because the population of Franklin is generally more liberal. The biggest problem with that is people attack more conservative students as individuals rather than their political views, and that's where it becomes a problem. There is genuine discourse going on, which is really beneficial, but I feel like that doesn't happen until students are more informed and honestly more mature. And I don't think that should be something we have to wait till junior, senior year for.
I think it happens constantly because there's just people who think I don't know if it's funny or they're like angry about other people's opinions. Some like debate we've had is like whether or not it's people actually serious or whether or not they are just like think it's funny to mess with the Republicans board.
I think it's several reasons. First of all, I think it is a reflection of the lack of tolerance that, quite frankly, exudes the culture here at Franklin. And to a certain extent, I think that it is happening because it is being allowed to happen. The vandalism has taken place over the course of several semesters, over 2 years now. So before I've even arrived on this campus, this was a problem. It has not been addressed in a serious way. And quite frankly, people are getting away with it. And because they're getting away with it, they're going to continue to do this.
we need to have more open forums and teach our young people how to have an intellectual discourse and to be able to agree with each other, although we disagree with our viewpoints. You know, having a general message to our student body that, you know, because you believe certain things, that doesn't necessarily make you a racist or misogynist or bigot. What evidence do we have to line that up, to prove that that person is? So, as we I think we do more forums about that, and we help students understand the nature of being able to have disagreeing viewpoints without taking it personal or taking it personal against another person, then I think we'll grow.
I'm always reminded of I think it's the Socratic idea that it's an account of a well-trained mind to be able to look at an idea and entertain it logically without believing it. And I find that if that were more possible among like a consensus of people at Franklin, then that sort of thing could more effectively happen.
Two things. We're moving the bulletin board, or we're actually we're giving the Young Republicans a large bulletin board on the second floor landing. So it's much more a place, you know, kids have lunch there. It's much more of a common space, not a stairwell. And I've spoken with Mr. Cruz, who sponsors Young Dems, and Mr. Miller, who sponsors Young Republicans. And also I've asked them to include Mr. Gonzalez, who sponsors the new Third Party Club. I said, I would like to see that board become a sort of a bulletin board of ideas. So, you know, the clubs could come up with a question, or maybe something that's being debated in Washington, or debated in New Orleans, or debated in Louisiana, and they could post it, and people could actually give some thoughts. They could write a response. Here's how I feel about this, that, or the other. Mr. Mueller and Mr. Cruz have already started talking about having a forum for this exchange of ideas. How we have a forum where we can, in a safe, honest, high-level way, talk about the range of responses and the range of ideas.